This is the 2018 Kawasaki Vulcan Voyager VN1700. I sent the ECU off the other day to have it flashed by Ivan's Performance. I sent it out on Tuesday. Today is Thursday. They got it yesterday. Within a couple hours, they had called me, got the payment for me, and dropped it back in FedEx. I'm hoping that the results I get from it are as good as the service, because again, to send it out one day, they receive it today, and send it back the same day they received it, that's pretty phenomenal service. So basically why I had my ECU flashed was for the RPM gap. I had like a weird stutter between 2,500 and 4,000 RPMs. When I got on it, it just fell on its face. Once I got through that, it powered back up, so it was almost like a timing issue. Could be a fuel corrective issue, could be an RPM issue, so supposedly that's going to fix that. My temperature ran really hot. It's supposed to take care of the temperature problem. So today we're going to take it apart and we're going to put the ECU back in it. Of course, it's cold and raining here, so I'm not going to be able to drive it probably for a week, but at least we'll get it back in there. I'll start it up, let it warm up, and just make sure everything runs fine. Make sure I'll probably drive it around the block, even though it's raining, just to make sure everything runs and shifts and sounds good. All right, let's get it apart, put the ECU back in it, and put it back together, try it out. Now for some, I know these videos become repetitive and sometimes annoying, but I try to do this every time. That way people can follow if they've started a certain step or not. If you already know how to do some of this stuff, like get the seat off, please fast forward and go to the section where you need to. Get the seat off, we're going to put the key in, turn counterclockwise to the left. If it doesn't just pop up like that, push down a little bit on the seat and it'll pop up. Pull the key back out, lift up, pull forward, and the back seat's off. To get the front seat off, there's two little rubber tabs in the back. Lift up, slide it to the back of the motorcycle, and it comes off. Now something else on your bike you probably won't have is this big glob of wires, unless you've done like me. I've added LED lights, I've added a GPS tracker, I've done a bunch of other stuff on here. This just seemed to be where all my wires ended up, the best place to tuck them. There was enough space there between the seat gap. I'm probably going to clean this up a little bit while I've got it all out. I'm not going to bore you with that, so when I come back, if it looks different, it's because I've cleaned up this mess. One last little note while I'm in here. As you can see, I've cut out a gob of wire. It was just extra that I just tucked in because I was too lazy at the time to fix it. When I make my connections under here, someone's going to complain that I'm not using waterproof stuff or watertight stuff. I don't ride in the rain. I'd say too old, but I'm not too old to ride in the rain, but I just don't ride in the rain. Unless I get stuck in the rain. If I get stuck in the rain, I'm going to pull over and wait till it quits raining. So all my stuff is high and dry. It's not waterproof though. If you're going to ride your bike in the rain, they make wire nuts and connectors with silicone inside of them. Highly recommend using those on anything like this right here is my camera. So I'm going to make sure it's high and tight underneath the seat where it doesn't get wet. Anything that is down low, when I nut it off or fix it, I'll make sure that it's waterproof. I'm going to lift these up out of the way for a minute. We're going to go unbox our ECU and we'll be ready to drop it back in. $397.50. That was with shipping back, insurance and all that. So $30 to get there and $397 to get it back. Got a little installation, please read. Make sure the ignition key is off. When you install the ECU, we've pulled the battery out just to make sure. Turn the ignition key on for 5 seconds. Error code 98 on the dash. Turn the key off. Disconnect the negative. Reconnect the negative, and it should clear the clear the code. So let's get it back in the bike. See what happens. Inside of here should be my ECU. And that is my original bracket ECU. He's marked the back of it with his performance sticker. Now, once you flash your ECU, you got to be careful because nobody else can flash this ECU again. If I ever have to have this reflashed, the only one that can flash it is Ivan's Performance. Once it's flashed, the computer that flashed it has to be the computer that unflashes it. As you can see, I've got it ready to drop back in there. There's a little white tab, a little piece of wire sticking on the side that's kind of hard to get past. You got to kind of push it aside with your fingers. So I'm going to pull this up about halfway, plug my leads in, and then I'm going to drop it down in once I get the leads plugged into it. So I'm going to do one, push until they click. Again, I'm not pushing or pulling on any of the wires. I'm pushing on the connector itself. The back two are short, so I'm going to have to drop it down in. One's on. And that's it. Push the ECU the rest of the way down in there, and we've put the new ECU in. Next step, I'm going to reinstall my battery terminal. And again, I just put my screw down in there so it wouldn't get lost in the couple days the ECU was gone. So I'm reconnecting the terminal. My key is not even in, so the ignition's not on. Again, we don't want it powered on yet until we get the battery tightened up. Got me a long screwdriver. Again, metal frame. Don't hit your screwdriver on the frame and arc the battery out. Tighten up my terminal. Make sure you get the terminal tight. If it wiggles loose, you're going to have problems starting. It's going to drag. You're going to get corrosion up in there. Bad thing. So make sure you get it tight. If you want to use a nut driver or a, looks like a 10 millimeter, you can put a driver on it and tighten it up a little bit more. Make sure you cover your terminal up so the anything hitting it won't arc it out. I'm usually not a big instructions follower, but in this case, since we're dealing with a very expensive part here, I'll do exactly what it says. I'm turning the key to the on position. I'm going to wait for 5 seconds. I've got the error code 98 on there. I've got a camera in there, and if I don't turn it off, if I turn it off too fast, my camera won't power down right, drains my battery. So I'm going to give it a little bit longer than normal. I've got a couple little jingles going on here. Been a good 5-10 seconds now. I'm going to turn off the ignition. Next, we're going to disconnect the negative terminal like he says. So my negative terminal is off. He says wait 5 seconds. I'm going to give it 10. Realistically, you probably just need to disconnect it and put it back on within a couple seconds, but sometimes there are capacitors and stuff in there that will keep things energized. So we've been a good 10 seconds now, 15 seconds. I'm going to reconnect my terminal. Back up to the dash here. Key back to the on position. And I've got my mileage back. Of course, I'm going to have to reset my radio and all that stuff. Completely different video if you need to reset your radio. I've got another video online. Alright, it's time to put the battery cover back on. This was a little tough getting out of here, so I have to wiggle it back into place. When you're putting this back in, make sure you don't pinch any of your wires, especially if you've got some extra ones like me. Mine's going to be a little bit more tough because I've got some extra wiring coming around here. I don't want to rip out my leads or pull off anything that I've done. And there we go. Like I said, that took a little bit of finagling, but again, I've got these extra wires in the back, extra wire nuts on the side, wiring harness going down through here, so it took a little bit of wiggling to get in. I put the 2 screws back in. I'll just hold on to one with my finger until I line it up. That helps keep me from dropping it down in the bike. If you drop it down the bike, you're going to have to get something to fish it out. This side here is the belt, so if you drop it, it's going to land right on top of the belt. You need a pickup tool or something to get it out of there. Second one, same thing, opposite finger so I can get it in there. There we go. Battery cover's back in. Now to reinstall the seat, on the bottom of the seat, if you haven't done this before, there's a little catch tab in the middle here. It goes underneath of this, so when you put the seat on, you don't have to push down really hard, but you want to put a little bit of pressure in the middle there, and that piece will catch. And then the back two pieces line up right here on these two little rubber tabs. The rear seat assembles the same way. Little catch right here. There's a metal hook right here. That catches underneath of there. And you push down it and lock it into place. And your rear seat's on. So we're ready to go. Okay, this next segment's going to be a little bit longer. We're going to start it up, take it down the road. You can fast forward to this section if you want. You can watch the ride I'm going to do. I got to get it warmed up first. I'm going to do like a little 0 to 60. Just shift some gears, try some other things. It's like 40 degrees here, so I'm never going to get it hot enough to see if the temperature went down. I'll have to try that out this summer, but we're going to see how overall it runs. Here we go. Okay, overall, very impressed. Max RPM I hit there was 6,200 RPM, so I'll have to go back and watch the video to see what the 0 to 60 was. I'm guessing around 6 seconds. No sputtering on the downshifting, no sputtering in the RPM range. Got rid of all of that. Ran really smooth. Temperature never got over halfway up. Now again, it's 40 degrees here. That may change in the summertime. But even before I had the ECU done, I should have done a video on it, but I didn't. Never thought about it. But I was still getting 3/4 way up in the heat range. And if you guys have this bike, you know it's hot. So overall, ECU flash seems to be a good thing to do. Please click like and subscribe on the videos. Thank you.